I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. It is a Raiders Friday, my friend.
Yes, it is the Raiders, and a big one, as we said. You know, this is a massive game, not only to finish out the first half of the season at 6-2, to deal a big head-to-head blow to another team that hopes to be competing for a wild card spot. It's big. It's a big one, and as I said, this is the kind of team that thus far in 2020 the Browns have matched up well with. Not a great defense, a good offense, but not a defense that pressures the quarterback, not a defense that generates takeaways. And so this seems to be in our wheelhouse. I would say they're probably a better version of what we saw from the Dallas Cowboys earlier in the season. They're slightly better than that. They don't have the pass rusher like Aldon Smith, but they're probably, and maybe they're not quite as good of an offense, but overall their sum is greater.
I would agree with that.
Than what we saw from the Cowboys, who are in a little bit of disarray right now. But this is a good team. Look, they're 3-3. They are 3-0 when they are tied in the takeaway and the turnover battle. They are 0-3 when they've lost it. It's a pretty simple formula. The Browns need to control this game and control the football. I think sloppy conditions certainly favor the Browns, and it does look like we might have some sloppy conditions on Sunday because we're better built to run the football. Jacobs last in the NFL in yards per carry among all running backs with 80 carries this season. So
it's befuddling.
It is befuddling, but we have a chance, I think, to really do something very, very significant. I really think getting to 6-2, winning this football game, really lays the red carpet to the playoffs for this organization.
It is. It's so critical for all of the reasons you mentioned. It's critical to, I think, for a young team that's figuring out how to win and has done a good job of that this year in terms of figuring out how to win when they play teams of equal or great or even slightly greater than talent, is finding a way to win. I think it's really critical to go into the bye week with a win and to feel good about yourself going into that bye week. I think that helps a lot going forward. So I think all of those factors certainly lead up to why the importance of this, let alone just the AFC playoff picture, where, quite frankly, there aren't that many teams that are vying for spots. There's 4 teams. There's 4 or 5. There's like 5 teams if you want to add Baltimore for now, but I think we all kind of feel like they're going to be there. You're talking about 5 teams for 3 spots. So these are one of the teams. The other teams are being the Dolphins, who are now playing a rookie quarterback, so the expectation there falls. And the other team is the Indianapolis Colts. So you'd have tiebreakers with the win over this Raiders team. You would have tiebreakers over 2 of the teams that are in the hunt for those last couple of playoff spots, those wild card playoff spots. So it's critical for all of those reasons. This is an interesting Raiders team, really is. When you think about, who they've beat, they have beat the Saints when they had Michael Thomas. They have beat the Chiefs. They have losses to the Bills. They were beaten down pretty bad by the Patriots, and they were beaten pretty good last week by the Buccaneers. But they have played one of the toughest schedules in all of football early on this season.
They have, and that's the thing about this team. When I've talked to some people who were, I wouldn't say dismissive of the Raiders, but they've played an incredibly difficult schedule to open up this season and still are 3-3. And when you can go on the road and you can beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you're pretty legit as far as I'm concerned. That means on any given Sunday, as they like to say, you can beat anybody. They've already played the Saints, the Patriots, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bucks. And the Panthers, the Panthers, after they beat the Panthers, I think, ran off a couple of wins in a row. So
maybe 3 in a row, yeah.
They've played a very difficult schedule, and like I said, yes, they are 3-3. Now, they started off 2-0, so since that time, they are 1-3 in their last 4. They're giving up 36 points per game over their last 4. But people who just go and you just look at finals, and you look at that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, you say 45-20, Brady, throws for 370 and 4. It was a blowout. With 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, the Raiders kicked a field goal that made that game 24-20. It was a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes to go. Then, of course, things got ugly from a Raiders perspective, great from a Tampa Bay Taco Bell perspective for yours truly, and it was 45-20 and the route was on. But this is a very good team that the last 3 weeks has faced the Bills, who are probably a surefire playoff team. They were beaten by a touchdown. They beat the Chiefs, and then they lose to the Bucks, but it was a 1-possession game late into the fourth quarter. So your 1-possession games with 3 top contending teams, you win one of them. This isn't a team to be taken lightly. Derek Carr, by the way, 2-1 all-time against the Browns. He's won his last 2 games as a starter against the Browns. He throws for 360 yards per game against the Browns in his career, the most against any of his opponents. Last time we were there in 2018, there were 1,050 yards of total offense, 10 total touchdowns in that 45-42 overtime barn burner, which is just insane. So the weather might make it tougher to be a shootout, but this is a team that you cannot take lightly, and we're going to have to be very good on offense because, frankly, our defense hasn't shown us that breakout performance. Would love to see it, though.
Yeah, absolutely would. It is rare that we go right to the hotline early, right to the fifth, third money line, only for A-list of A-list guests, and we have that today, and so we will head out on the fifth, third money line. The great Amy Trask joining us, NFL analyst for CBS, author, former CEO of the Raiders, calling in on that fifth, third money line. Amy, thank you so much for taking the time. Nathan and I just kind of getting into the specifics. This one has all the feelings, though, doesn't it? When you think about the tradition-rich franchises, both of them in good spots heading into this game, and a lot on the line for both franchises.
Well, you said that magnificently, of course, and I've got a few thoughts to share, but mostly want to thank you for having me on. I'm thrilled to join you. And you mentioned that these are 2 tremendous franchises. Well, you know what else is tremendous about these 2 franchises? Their respective fan bases. And yes, I was with the Raiders for almost 30 years, and my heart will always be with Raider fans, and I shall forever have their backs. But, a tip of the hat to Browns fans. Every time we visited Cleveland throughout my career, I was impressed and I really loved the Browns fans. So, hey, Browns fans.
Hey, and hi to you, Amy. It is great to talk to you again. Amy and I go way back to Tops on CBS Sportsnet, the inaugural season of that pregame show. And now, Amy, a media superstar. I remember when she was a little nervous to go on camera. Now, a media superstar. But, of course, as you said.
I'm not a superstar. And, Nathan, you are very kind, because if by a little nervous you mean I almost threw up all over myself, yes, I was a little nervous. A great game coming up on Sunday, don't you think?
It is a great game. It is a 5-2 Browns team, something we haven't experienced 5-2 since 1994, and it's a 3-3 Raiders team that I think is much, much better than that record would indicate. It's a big one, and when you think about, as you talked about, 2 storied franchises meeting in a game in Week 8, there's actually a lot at stake here. The way that the playoffs expanded to 7, the Browns, the Colts, the Raiders, the Ravens currently in the wild card mix. This is an important one because of that head-to-head and what that could mean for later in the season, Amy.
Again, you said that perfectly. There is that extra playoff spot, and irrespective of divisional outcomes, both of these teams right now are in play for that spot. And, I heard you talking before I got on about the respective offenses. I've also been focused on their defenses. The Raider rushing defense is in the bottom half of the league in terms of yards per rush, whereas the Browns offense is the 3rd best in the league in terms of average yards per rush. The Raiders are giving up the most rushing touchdowns in the league. So while many people are focusing on Mayfield and Carr, I think the running game is going to have a big role in this game.
Yeah, I think you are, and I think the conditions will as well. When you think about it, the forecast not looking great. Rainy and cold in the 40s, could be a sloppy track. Both of these teams very, very physical. Amy, in terms of where John and Mike are with this rebuild, going now into year 2, as you see what this Raiders team is right now, into their new home in Vegas, obviously, unfortunately, no fans, so you don't have the full kind of thrust of that. But as you look at where they are now, how close are they to where they want to be?
Well, certainly they're much improved on offense. The line is giving Carr tremendous protection. And when you can give someone that much time to throw, and you've got the speed that the Raiders have at the wide receiver positions and the skill positions the Raiders have filled, that is a dangerous combination. They still have challenges on defense. So I guess I would look at it in 2 parts. The rebuild seems to be going very, very well in terms of the offense, work to do on defense.
Amy, I feel like this is a Raiders team, though, that would certainly make Al Davis smile down from up above. You talk about a team, they've only played 6 games, lead the NFL in pass plays of more than 40 yards with 6. Nelson Aguilar, 3 touchdowns of more than 20 yards receiving already to lead the NFL. Carr, the number 1 deep thrower in the league, averaging 40 yards per completion on passes of more than 20 yards in the air. I know from your days as the Queen of Darkness, as they like to say, that the Raiders, that is the tradition. Get it vertical, speed on the outside, and it seems like this team has some of that going right now. And Ruggs, the rookie, 26.5 yards a catch in the early going.
Well, you're absolutely right. Al always talked about the vertical game, and he would love the speed and love the vertical game. But I'm going to look back at the defense again for a moment. I could hear him. I hear his voice right now watching the defense saying to me, kid, the quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. The Raiders do need to solve the defensive problems, but you're absolutely right about the speed on offense. And I just want to note one more thing for you, because you were mentioning it's going to be like in the 40s and rainy and cold. And would it really bother you to know that I'm having this conversation with you from the beach?
I already knew that, and I'm picturing you with an ice cream sundae having the time of your life, Amy.
Well, I'm sitting here, I'm watching the men carry their surfboards out to the water, and I'm sort of looking at the sand.
Right.
And, yeah, I'm beach taunting. By the way, you've talked about Carr, and Carr is doing very, very well this season. I'm excited to see what Baker Mayfield ultimately is for the Browns. Third year, and he's on his I think it's his third year. He's had 3 head coaches, 4 if you count the interim head coach.
Right.
So hopefully he gets the stability now to show what he can be for the Browns franchise.
Yeah, I think the key there is to build on what he did last week, where he just had the 1 incomplete pass, and it was a spike in the last 3 quarters. And so for him, it's about stacking those results. And when you look at what Derek Carr's done, I was shocked to see the type of season he's had. 72% passer, 13 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's playing at an elite level for them. They must feel very good about what he is.
You're absolutely right, and let's focus back on the protection he's getting from that offensive line. I mean, look, we've all looked at teams over many, many, many years, and quarterbacks are better when they're comfortable and confident and not looking over their shoulders, so to speak, and not worried about people coming in from all sides. Derek Carr is getting tremendous protection from that line. So when you talk to the work that Mike Mayock has done and John has done bringing in players, there's been a tremendous focus on the line, and I think most games are won at the line of scrimmage, so I think that's well done.
Well, the Browns are going to try to challenge that, and they have a guy that I'm sure Al Davis would have loved as well, and you, Myles Garrett, leading the NFL, 9 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. He's got a sack in 6 straight games, the AFC Defensive Player of the Month, and frankly, he has been the game wrecker for the Browns on defense. He has been the difference maker week in and week out. What have you seen from Myles? And I know that you have had the opportunity to see a lot of great pass rushers in your time in the league and now covering it.
Well, absolutely what you just said. He is disruptive. The Raider line, for as good as it has been this year, struggled last week. That may be because of the virus-related isolation that the entire line had to do. The line missed practice going into last week, and the reason I raise that is because they did give up 3 sacks to 1 player last week when playing the Buccaneers. Saying, "Come into my parlor," said the spider to the fly. He is tremendous. He is fun to watch. And I would be worried about him were I the Raider offensive line, given what happened to them last week.
Amy, you're the best. We know you got to run. We thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time today.
Absolutely my pleasure. And again, if I sounded at all disruptive, see, there I go. I'm like flibberty-gibberty. If I sounded at all distracted, it's because there are a lot of surfers walking by here with their surfboards.
Right. Okay. Yep. Uh-huh.
There was a little snow
really
on my drive in
it.
this morning, Amy. No big deal, okay?
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.
Just
So
fantastic.
great.
The great Amy Trask on the Fifth Third Money Line. Reminder, all guests who appear on Cleveland Browns Daily do so via the Fifth Third Money Line. Fifth Third Bank making Cleveland Browns Daily a Fifth Third better. Go ahead.
Not only is Amy one of the coolest people you would want to meet, for those who really do not know her backstory, and other than, we get the great introduction that you gave her, to really understand how ahead of her time she was, is difficult to comprehend today. I mean, we had a couple weeks ago where we had a game where there was the first time in NFL history where you had a female official and 2 female coaches on the opposite sidelines. We are talking about a female CEO of the Raiders in their heyday, Al Davis's right-hand woman, and such a pioneer. She's written a book about it, which I recommend for everybody. Just an awesome person, and it was so fun to get to be with her when she started her TV career now, because if you watch her now, so polished, so strong. She is someone not afraid at all, and I'm sure with her resume, why would you be?
Why would you be, yeah?
To tell you how she thinks and how she feels about anything that's going on at any time. Love her, and it's awesome to have her on. She is truly a pioneer and a history maker in the National Football League.
Well said. I liked her until I had to hear about surfboards twice.
That was ouch.
I mean, once. Okay.
She would do that.
One I can deal with.
When she started off on tops,
sad.
Yeah, she wouldn't always come in. She would some of the weeks she would stay out in Malibu, and of course she would be more than happy to turn the camera around as she's literally sitting on the Great Pacific, having the time of her life. Usually, as I mentioned, with an ice cream sundae with some sprinkles on top while we were freezing in New York.
So there's an amazing thing that is happening behind the scenes here in that practice has been pushed back. Practice was pushed back this morning, so that means we don't have Gibby here off the top. So as we're talking with Amy, and we had been instructed that she had to be out by 1:15 because she's busy and has a lot to do, and she gave us a little bit of her time. So Gibby goes, and Jordan texts me as well, have to be out by 1:15. Of course, I already knew this. We're big Bs. We know when people have to be out.
Huge.
So I texted him back, go to hell. I'm going to 1:20. Just to bug Gibby because that's what we like to do on these things. He responds, Nathan promised her, Beau.
Like you didn't know it was a joke.
He is also, I would say, the other thing that is great about the great Gibby is he's multitasking. So he's probably recording some sort of interview for one of the other shows that he does, one of the many shows, and he's also providing us injury updates. So guys ruled out for Sunday. No surprises here. Teller, Hooper, Phillips all out. I think we could have expected that. Miles, good, and the normal workload for our intrepid reporter. Boy, it's Big J journalist out of Gibby. He's down there, or Big R reporter, one of the two. He's doing a lot of things right now.
I think he is a Big J journalist, and the greatest part about this is you regale us all with this wonderful tale that is so much fun. I can see him through the glasses. Yes, he is on to another task that is going on simultaneously, as I like to say, shaking his head in disgust at what we are saying. And now he's grinning ear to ear. He's so happy.
When you and I take the guts behind the curtain and put them on
right
the
out there.
Stage,
yeah.
He has no time for that. He does not appreciate that in any way. But I do. It's fun for me.
Oh, boy, do we love it.
Those are the Ohio Business Machine's preferred hot topics. Ohio Business Machine preferred copy provider of your Cleveland Browns. For all the X's and O's for your office, call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Lots to get to on the program. We will go around the league. The trade deadline inching closer. Continue to get you set for the Browns and the Raiders this Sunday at First Energy. We will do the scores. Lots of joy to be had in that. We're off and running here. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Both down.
Rumpke Waste and Recycling, family-owned and operated since 1932. Been in business for 87 years, keeping neighborhoods clean and green. The customers, employees, communities are all part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. As we go around the league, Theodore.
You know what? I got to say this because I got to get something off my chest. I'm happy that I'm here and not in North Carolina or Atlanta, because I guess they're probably back there now. I'd have some words for Charles Harris. Not cool, brother. Theodore is a great guy. What are you trying to do? You trying to decapitate him?
That was not great. It's weird watching those two. It's weird watching the Falcons play and realizing that up until last night they had one win.
Yes.
Because they are not their record is not equal to some of their parts.
No.
They are still an incredibly dangerous team, especially before Ridley got out, went out with the injury. They have so many ways to be able to attack you. It's just, I guess it's just, we know what's happened. It's been well documented. Their inability to know what to do on an onside kick, the way to finish games, an inability of Gurley to get down before the goal line, all of those things that have led to all these losses. But I think both them and Houston, and we're going to get Houston in a couple weeks, those are teams that I don't necessarily think you want to play. They don't feel like 1-6 when you play them.
Absolutely not. Now, they still did some 1-6-ish type of things, kicking the field goal there on 4th and 1, but they won that game because of Carolina's, frankly, inability and I thought terrible play calling in, 2 different 4th down situations that directly took points off of the board for the Panthers. I thought that's where they lost the game. I thought the Panthers actually could have been right there. The Falcons' offense feels like it should never be stopped.
Yeah, agree.
It
feels like they ought to be able to do whatever they want.
Anytime they want, they feel like they should be able to score. They may not stop people, but some of those play calls on those 4th downs were just dreadful, I thought, by the Panthers. I thought the Panthers looked like, in total, a better football team, all in all. I thought that the Falcons looked like a more explosive team, certainly. Losing Ridley obviously put my Thursday night in a bad mood. I have him in the awesome fantasy football league, so I was quite displeased by that. And now knowing that he's probably going to be out this next week and then the bye, and hopefully he'll be back week 11. But nonetheless, I digress. What you see there, though, are 2 quarterbacks that, while Teddy does not have the arm that, say, a Matt Ryan possesses, they're both watching their understanding of defenses and free runners and what to do with the football, I thought was fun to watch.
It's amazing to me that because Bridgewater, that injury we know how severe that injury was, but people had given him a shot before. Remember, he was with the Jets in their camp and couldn't make that team, and then it was the Saints who, reclaimed him and built him back up. But you remember how good he was in Minnesota, and you say, what took this long for him to get back in position to be a starting quarterback? Because he very clearly is. He's very clearly a top-half quarterback in the league. He's ultra smart. He he throws a beautiful ball. Got about everything you'd want. That injury just must have been more severe even than what you thought from a rehab standpoint, because the idea that guy was cut is hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Clearly he wasn't ready at that juncture because, yes, he is very good, and I think he's a guy that if he running – you put him on the 49ers, you put him on ours, you put him on the Rams. You put him in this type of an offense, I think he'd be tremendous. Tremendous.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I like what they're doing. It was I like how they use Curtis Samuel. I like the culture they have there. I think to get McCaffrey back, they're a lot further along than you thought they were.
They're missing a nice tight end. That's the one thing, and that's a team that you'd always think of watching Panther football, and you think of Greg Olsen, who was so great for all those years. They're missing that tight end, and it doesn't have to be a great one. I'd say the Falcons. That's what's so cool about their offense when you got Julio on the outside, Ridley, who should have had a touchdown earlier on that one where they ran those mirrored posts and Ryan made the wrong read, but his route running is insane. Gage is very good as well, and then Hayden Hurst I think is a pretty darn solid tight end. They're good. And by the way, they didn't go monochromatic yesterday. What did you think of that look? The stripes even matched up. I thought it wasn't a bad look at all.
They still had the socks were all black, so they
with
had the leotard
pants.
look.
They had black pants.
Right. So, throw a red sock on there, a white sock, so that I get a breakup of pant and sock, and then then you have it's okay.
That's
I'll make it
want.
work.
Yeah.
I don't like any of the. I don't like ATL.
I don't love the ATL
across the
From
front.
Far,
the
they
New
look
York,
pretty good.
like any. Look, it's a National Football League. Okay, I know who you are. I don't need to read it across the front of your jersey. I know who you are. So that's that's where I am with that.
But in the NBA, it's okay.
I do like the helmets, though. I do like the helmets. What's that?
As in the NBA, it's okay, though. In the NBA, you can have your city on there.
That's fine. It's not the NFL.
That's right.
There's no reason.
Right. Yeah.
There's no reason to in the National Football League. But it was fun. It was good to have the football back. Ronnie Saley got paid this morning, 5 years, $98.75 million on that. Gibby points this out: the 16 NFL draft in terms of guys who've gotten paid. Goff, 4 years, 134. Wentz, 4 years, 128. Bosa, 5 for 135. Zeke, 6 for 90. Ramsey, 5 for 100. Stanley, 5 for 98.75. I don't know if we'll ever see these numbers, or we will see them again at some point, but not next year. You're not going to see a lot of numbers like these next year when the cap goes down.
Certainly not. And I would say of those deals, right now, they all look pretty good in essence. The ones that
Zeke,
I personally, I don't think Zeke. I was going to say I don't think you
love
pay
him, but
the running back that much. I'm sure the Eagles right now are wondering about their Wentz investment. And the Rams, 5-2, pleased with Goff. They've been to a Super Bowl already. The Eagles won a Super Bowl. Wentz didn't participate in those playoffs. The only one that I wouldn't want here is Zeke. I would want, to me, Ramsey, 5 years, 100 is terrific.
Yep.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
I like watching
wrecker.
him play. Yep.
I do too. Yeah. And I think Goff is one that felt silly, now doesn't. And I think Wentz, I don't like him for that much, but at the same time, one thing I would say about Wentz is, they have had no humans healthy for two full seasons. It's a season and a half of he hasn't had a healthy team to play with. So I'm interested to see if when they get healthy, what that starts to look like a little bit. And then the big news yesterday, which coincided with the game, was the Trevor Lawrence news. So this is the one guy in all of college football that you said, well, that's an attention getter. And how much of an attention getter? This morning on the Today Show, they do like a minute thing where they like all the big stories. So it's election, it's COVID, Trevor Lawrence. It was the third in the opening montage of the Today Show. That's how big of a deal that is. He will be the number one pick in the NFL draft. He tested positive. According to the ACC rules, he's out 10 days minimum. So that would put the Notre Dame game next Saturday into question, which is one of the most highly anticipated college football games of the year. And this was, look, said it a lot, guys. College was always going to be very, very difficult. And you were reminded of that. That will cast a shadow certainly over the college football weekend where you have Ohio State at Penn State. And a weekend that always starts with college game day. And even that will be affected because Desmond Howard tests positive. The Cleveland native tests positive as well. And so he will be doing college game day from his home as opposed to on-site. And
the Lawrence one is a big deal because, it is, he is the most high-profile college football player right now. They've got a big game coming up with Notre Dame in a few, is it 8 days?
Next Saturday.
They're trying to already
So if he tested positive Wednesday.
Yep, and they're trying to say that counts as day one.
Yes. So the ACC is Sunday, Wednesday, Friday is when they test. So if he's that Wednesday, you're exactly – and of course they would.
Right.
Of course Clemson would.
Right.
So they're saying that's day one, and they're hopefully can play. But ask yourself this. If he doesn't practice for 10 days –
I'm sure they feel fine rolling him out there. But as I was telling my friends last night, I said, don't worry about it. This is Clemson. They don't rebuild. They reload. There's backups, the number one recruit in his class. So they're safe.
What was his name? I can't remember on the text because you.
I don't want to steal your thunder. You go ahead and you.
But it's not my thunder.
No, I just knew he was the
number. I couldn't find the phone, and I was trying to.
Me neither.
And you said that, and I wrote it down.
I have to FaceTime with you.
And I thought
it's sad.
3 years from now, I thought I want to write this down because I'm sure it'll be a first-round pick in the draft. And so I know that you texted us his name, and I was trying to remember what that name was.
I can't even look.
So I'm not.
I can't. I think it's DJ Ugalele. Is that right?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Come on.
No, it's DJ. I don't think you got the last part right, but you got the first part right.
Ugalele.
Ugalele? Something like that. But yes, they do. They do. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Good job. Be part of one of the most passionate. That's right. Be part of one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL. Join the Browns season ticket member waitlist today for the best chance of securing tickets for all home games in future seasons. Deposits start at just $100 per seat. Receive your spot today by visiting clevelandbrowns.com. More tomfoolery coming up next. A little over, under, Gibbe. A comeback? Oh, the Gibbe with the comeback. We do that coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bishop here for my great friends at Raising Cane's. On game day, go for the win with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Stack your roster, delicious hand-battered cooked to order chicken fingers and cane sauce. Bootsy and I are going to be passing these out tomorrow on Halloween, baby.
Whoa!
Little Buckeyes, little Canes. We're going to make it happen. Huddle up with crispy crinkle-cut fries as well, coleslaw, buttery Texas toast. Go ahead and have them toast both sides. That's a win for everybody. Top it all off with freshly made tea. I like the sweet tea. Go with the lemonade as well. And Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, proud sponsor of our great friends of the Ohio High School Association and Ohio State Athletics. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. All right, we bring in Gibby for a little over-under fun.
What are you passing out tomorrow night?
I'm going to pass out Canes.
Like, what do you mean canes? You're going to hand out chicken
fingers? Yeah.
Independently
well, Bootsy and I are going to be eating
very
them.
well, my friend. I love it.
Are you going to hand out like one?
I want to come to your
individual
neighborhood
finger?
and trick or treat.
I don't know how that works in the pandemic. Here, take this chicken finger right out of my hand.
I'm going to have Bootsy hand them to him.
I'm fine with it. I don't care. I'll sit
People
down
would
in the
take
front
everything
yard
from
with
Bootsy. It's
Bootsy and
fine.
we'll eat chicken fingers.
It's a super spreader event.
Done.
The Beau Bishop
right.
super
Fine.
spreader event.
Nothing to see here. You're safe, pal.
Safe.
You're safe.
You're safe.
Oh, my gosh.
Come
What
to
a
your
time.
neighborhood.
You know, we had, my wife has this, we are going to do our third Halloween tonight and our fourth Halloween tomorrow. A 4 Halloween. There's one.
Where all have you gone?
I'm going to do my first Halloween on Halloween. That's right.
Yes, correct. She did one at the club, one at her parents', one in the neighborhood tonight, and then tomorrow will be another one with family, I believe.
Is this
we got
because
four. I don't even know where
she
we're-
heard of my first Friday creation, so now she thinks she can have a first Halloween, a second Halloween, a third Halloween, and a fourth Halloween?
Get greedy. Just got greedy.
It's unreal.
Just like you with First Friday.
That's
How much
awesome.
booze do
Good
you need
job
in a
by
week,
her.
Segura?
I think that's great. Load up the kids. Candy Rush.
Yeah.
Trash.
Oh, no, that's not even the fair part of it. My guess is she'll throw most of the candy out.
Right.
If she doesn't want it around the house, them crushing it. Bootsy will eat it for every meal.
Tell you what, you give it to Zegura, have him bring it in here. I will eat it.
It's not like I see him either. I mean,
Zegura
seen
can swing
anybody
by.
since-
You guys live close to one another.
We haven't seen each other since the jerseys dropped.
Yeah, boy, what a
was that
day
before?
was.
No. We combine, or I mean,
Oh,
at,
training camp.
practice, training camp. Yeah,
Training
we had that
Yeah,
going
that's
for us,
right.
which was nice.
Which
All right, boys, a little over
Yesterday.
under frivolity and a little fun. Before we get into it, a little bit of a rally from the Gibbe after I crowned Z last week and his escapades as being some of the greatest we've ever seen in the history of prognostication. We were humbled, frankly. We were humbled.
Got to keep it interesting.
A 1-5
Ow!
week for the good doctor.
What does that bring
Give
my
it.
total to?
28-12. Still cruising. Gibbe, 2-4 2 weeks ago, 3-3 this week.
Woo!
Oh.
It's a trend. That's a trend line.
It's a trend. That's a trend line. It's not. Remember the mountain climber gang on Price is Right?
Yeah.
Not one of those.
No,
But just a slow.
We've
Yeah,
got lift
not
off.
bad.
We still have 9 weeks to go in the regular season.
We still haven't
gotta
seen you
pace
get
yourself.
we still haven't seen you get above 500 in a weekend, Gibbe, but I believe it's coming.
This could be it.
I
This
know
could be
is.
it, gentlemen.
Like, don't be surprised. Like, just expect
Well,
it.
All right, what's Gibbe's
Let's
record?
try to finish
Where
strong.
does he sit?
14-22.
Hey, I'm within 8 games. Just get to there.
You're within
You
what?
After-
can't make it all back in 1 week. You can't make it all back in 1 week.
No.
You're
No.
within, hold on.
You will
What
need to
did
get
you just say
some
you're within
plus
8
5
games? You're
of
down
500.
14 in the win column. Oh, 8 games from 500.
8, yeah.
Oh,
I'm not,
that's all.
He's just trying to get to the Mendoza.
Let's get to the Mendoza line, and then we'll figure out
That's
how
only
we catch
200,
you.
the Mendoza one. Here we go.
Yeah, that's true. All right, here we go, boys. Rushing yards, Kareem Hunt, 80.5. Segura,
Over. Next. Let's go.
Hmm.
Over.
An emphatic
100%.
over.
It's happening. Let's go.
Is that just a fanboy in you talking, or is that
No,
legit?
Kareem Hunt has more games of over 70 yards than anybody in the NFL not named Derrick Henry. He's got 5. He's going to get to 80
many does he
yards
have
this
over
week
80?
against the Raiders. 1. This isn't my first
Did I?
show.
Could be your second. Maybe it's your last. Whoa.
Well, for all of us. who knows?
I'll say over as well.
Over 80.5. Do we have the thing where they go next?
Next.
Over or
Yes!
under?
Yeah, despite all the trash you were talking earlier, I was busy putting together a number of other things.
I wasn't talking trash. I was letting the people know the conversation we had behind
Behind the
curtain.
scenes.
This is what's going on. The commercial computer back at KNR that plays all the brown spots crashed at like 1:02. For whatever reason, we decided to go practice till 1:10 today, which threw off taping coach for pregame, our pregame player interview.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I also have a show that people seem to forget that we do every day from 1 to 3.
Sounds like when
inside the.
We don't ever forget it. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah,
we're here.
you're gonna kill that poor woman. This is right out of Lebowski. Quit your crying over there.
Not crying at all. I just wanted to let you know I'm doing a number of other things.
You're a multi.
And then I get
That's
Bishop.
part of being a
bury you.
huge P.
I get Bishop
Multitasking.
giving me attitude.
No, I didn't. In fact, I just told you that I had fun with you because I knew you were stressed when you said she's got to be out by 1:15 with Amy. I said, I just texted back, go to hell. I'm keeping her to 1:20.
We knew,
which I did smile at, by the way.
We knew you were under duress. That's why, we booked the guests to
Little
open the show today. So you didn't have to worry about that.
That's right. You didn't have to worry about it. Nothing to see here. You're safe.
That's off the top rope.
That should give me a point on the over.
That's off the top rope.
Maybe it was.
Wow.
All right, boys.
Well done. Well played.
Passing yards.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield. 249.5. Give it.
Under, simply because of the weather factor. I don't know. It's supposed to be windy. By the way, there's like snow potentially in the forecast Sunday.
I saw that. I'm not excited.
I think from a weather standpoint, it's going to be a ground and pound game, and it might need to be for us. So I will say under. I think he will be close to that, just because that number that you come up with is usually pretty good. But he will be under.
That's right there. That's right there, Zegura.
So I wrote two numbers before you gave the over-under. Once you start getting in the category, right? Two numbers so that way I can use that as my base, my launching point. And I wrote 245 and 251. So you were pretty much right in the middle of that. Boy, I think it's going to be close, but I'm gonna go with Gibbe here, and I'm going to take the under. I'm looking at a nice efficient 17 for 24 for 231, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
I'd like that. I would take that.
All right. Next.
Over or under?
Tremendous tight end for the Vegas Raiders, Darren Waller. Waller receiving yards. Over or under the Browns' total tight end receiving yards?
Ooh, this is a great one.
Chief and Bryant together.
Yeah.
Or Waller.
I appreciate the effort, Bishop.
I like that. Waller's averaging 8.7 yards a catch this year. We have struggled with tight ends, but you're talking about two guys combined.
2 humans.
And by the way, what about Stiff Arm Steve? Don't discount Stiff Arm Steve.
You can have him.
Should he happen
Stiff Arm Steve. You get the whole room
to snag a pass. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. Waller may have more catches than the Browns tight ends, but the Browns tight ends will have more yards, which is what we're talking about here.
Yep, yards.
Waller over. Our guys
Waller
make catches
over.
when it matters in the end zone.
Listen, we would have certainly won that the last, I think, 3 weeks in a row against Waller.
For sure. Well, last week.
Last two, 100%.
All right. My favorite one, Browns sacks, interceptions, and fumbles. You're good at this one, Nathan. Give it, you go first. 4.1.
Sacks, interceptions,
fumbles by your Browns defense. We vacillate between 4.1 and 5.5 is where we go.
Over. Over. I think we get to the quarterback. I'm not sold on their offensive line. I think
doesn't
they're still
turn it over.
recovering from last week. I think
Carr doesn't throw interceptions.
Run one each of the last 2 games, Bishop.
I feel like Carr. I think Carr's due for a pick, maybe 2.
All right.
I like where we're at on that. I think I'm going to take the over.
6 games. They have given up 11 sacks, 8 giveaways. That's 19. That's an average of 3.167 per game. So I feel like I've got some cushion. I'm going to stay under here, and I think we're going to hit right at 4. happy to be wrong. This is one where I'm always happy to reverse jinx this the other way.
Always happy to be wrong, yep. All right, next.
Over or under?
Zegura, this one for you. Derek Carr passing yards, 279.5er.
Over. Even though the inclement weather, I still think their best tact is to throw the football. Jacobs, as I said earlier on the show, lowest yards per carry of any running back with more than 80 carries this year. The Browns' run defense, number 5 in the league. We are difficult to run the football on, but they are going to have to throw it, and I think he gets there. He averages 360 for his career against the Browns. I think he gets there. Again, happy to be wrong, because I do feel like if that number is low, I'm not expecting Jacobs to blow up. So if that number's low, that means it's going to be a game that the Browns should firmly control.
I just go under. I think this weather, the weather scares me here. This week has not been good, and Sunday's not looking good, and it keeps getting worse by the day. I feel like I got to go under on this.
Be very curious to see just what our grounds crew does to get that field right, because they're the best.
Yeah.
But how do they get that thing right every week with what we've had to deal with this week?
Less
It's
than
been
ideal
remarkable.
conditions.
Well, and the good news is you haven't played a game on it in 3 weeks.
Right.
So
that
it's in
saves
good
you.
shape.
For sure, but I mean, it has to be a sponge. Has to be for what we've dealt with this week. Next.
Over or under?
Total points scored, boys. 54.1.
I totally whiffed on this last week. 54.1, you said?
54.1, Gibby. Total points
Under.
scored.
I'm going to stick with what I've been going with, under. The whole theme is weather for me. Now, if I wake up
Weather
and
and
it's sunny
slop
and
for
50,
Gibby.
I'm totally
Weather
screwed.
and slop.
So this is an interesting one, because if you were to look at it solely based on what history would tell you about this season, just for the Raiders, for example, here's their last 4. 65, 72, 53, 56, 60, 64. So they only have one game that would be under this total. The Browns have 2 games under this total at a minimum. I don't know if are we overstating the weather's impact here a little bit? I think that it's 27. Is that Vagoose? Is that what Vagoose is saying?
Yep.
So I've seen some vacillation there
Yep.
between 55 and 51. I'm gonna go under as well. At some point, we've got to play a reasonable game.
I don't like reasonable games, but at some point,
They
yes.
give up 30 a week, and we score
do
30
we.
a week and wins.
And we give up 30 a week as well. Just about. What do
Yeah.
we give up? 31.6. Yeah, the combined totals of the teams, 31.6, 32.8, 64.4.
So 10 more than this, and yet you both went under.
This seems to me like a game where what we should try to, we get out to a little bit of lead. You sometimes got to squeeze the football. Pound them. Kareem Hunt going over 80. Let's go.
All right, very good. Those are your over and unders. We've got a couple minutes here. You want to do the 3 Browns to start, Gibby? 2 minutes? We got 2 minutes?
Yeah, we can go to
You safe?
as long as we're out by like 54, 55.
Sure, we're safe.
We got time.
Safe,
Go
safe.
ahead.
The kid
You
can
got safe.
knock these out.
I got
Browns, who do you like?
Kareem Hunt, obviously, the number 1 start of the week for your
Yep.
Cleveland Browns. Get him in there. Also, I think Jarvis Landry ends up having a nice game. And if you're in a league where you are, one of those deep, like 32-team leagues, maybe Taywan Taylor, somebody you'd throw a dart at. A little dart for Taywan Taylor.
Little dart for Taywan Taylor. Oh, scores. Pay attention.
How about that? All right. Other people around the league, not as darty. Carson Wentz, why he's going against Dallas. Same is true for Boston Scott. Same is true for Fulgham, the wide receiver. Same is true for Rodgers, the tight end. Anybody against the Dallas defense is a good start for your fantasy football team. Some more runners. I'm sticking with Giovanni Bernard against Tennessee. You saw what he did as a pass catcher, especially if you're in a PPR league. It's a good start for him. He has been solid whenever he is in this role. I think he ends up having a very nice game. Deeper, a sleeper if you need somebody because of bye week issues, injury issues. Le'Veon Bell, this is a revenge game. Chiefs, Jets.
Could be, yeah.
They could be way ahead. There could be enough for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell in that game to really get going. And then at wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, 2 rookies. One, you've got Jefferson, who I think is just a budding megastar, 100 yards receiving in 3 of his last 4 games. Ayuk becoming a little bit of a higher profile guy, 6 for 115 on 7 targets against New England last week. Now he goes against Seattle, who gives up the most fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers.
And just nobody healthy left.
Nobody else.
49ers.
He's the only person left on
There's
the
nobody
offense.
The only one left on the offense. Tim and Garoppolo's stand.
Right.
So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. You also have Drew Petzing to look forward to, which is nice. Our tight end coach will be calling in here at the top of the hour. Before we do that, knowing one's limit is important, whether it's a snap count for a football player or a spending limit when you're playing the lottery. So if you like to gamble, set a limit beforehand and stick to it. You want to learn more? It's easy. Go to keepitfunohio.com for helpful tips on how to keep gambling fun. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Are you a sports fan looking for a part-time weekend job? Get into the action at First Energy Stadium, home of your Cleveland Browns. Wes, now hiring part-time event staff and security. Apply online at weshiring.com. And with that, we head out on the fifth third money line. Our good buddy, Browns tight end coach Drew Petzing joining us. Drew, thank you so much for taking the time. Got the news from Coach today officially, not that it was anything we didn't anticipate, but Hoop being down again for a second straight week after the appendectomy. We saw what happened last week in terms of Harrison and Chief having big games. What has this week of preparation been like, and did you kind of have it in the back of your head that Hoop would be out all week long?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. I think the week of preparation was as normal. I think we went into last week not knowing, but I think those guys have taken the mindset that, hey, a guy could be up, a guy could be down. You never know what's going to happen over the course of an NFL week. So you got to prepare as if you're the starter and you're getting all the reps, and you got to be ready for that opportunity when it presents itself because you may not get it again. So from that standpoint, I think it's business as usual. You never know with a guy like Hoop. I mean, he's as tough as they come. So, he had the appendectomy, I guess, on Friday, and, I honestly thought there was a chance, which is crazy because I had one myself, and I wouldn't have considered, I barely walked to the kitchen 10 days after that surgery. So you really never know.
Coach, what does it tell you about this team that, everybody, every week it seems somebody in a different position group has got to step up, has to fill the void, and it's really been a hallmark of this team, the calling card, that those players are doing that. Your room, obviously, no exception last week as we're talking about Hooper, Harrison, Bryant, and the Chief combining for 3 touchdowns. Bryant setting career highs in catches and yards and, of course, the 2 scores. So from just a team perspective, and then I'm sure the gratification that comes when your room is certainly a part of that and a big part of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and I think that comes from the top down, from ownership, from Coach Stefanski, from Andrew Berry, in terms of how they talk about the team and that mentality and what comes with that in terms of the way you prepare and the way that you approach your job, and that it definitely seeps into how I approach my job, and I'm sure a lot of the other position coaches and into the players. So it's been really exciting to see some of these guys who are out there every day, working their tail off, and then when their opportunity or their numbers called, that they step up and make those type of plays. And to be a part of that in the tight end room has been a lot of fun.
Browns tight end coach Drew Petzing joining us on the fifth third money line. Drew, Nathan and I'll never forget, we're at camp. It was probably day one of camp, and you guys this was a different camp than normal, but it was the part that was actually felt like camp and or as camp as it can be during a pandemic. And we saw Harrison Bryant out there and just went, whoa, that kid's got it, man. When did you know that you had something special with him, and how has he continued to improve as this season has gone along?
Yeah, I think the one thing we knew throughout the process was just the type of person we were going to get from a work ethic standpoint, from a ability to learn the playbook. So I think that showed up throughout the virtual off season even. But as you said, you're not 100% sure until you hit the field and all of a sudden you're repping some plays. And I think when you see a kid, a rookie step on the field and instantly belong, right? Like at no point are you like, all right, maybe this is a little too big for him or he's not quite ready. And there's a number of plays, both run and pass game, where I think not just my head, but kind of when you see players talking about it, I think that's when you know, right? Like when other guys on the team are kind of like, he makes the guy cut off on the backside and they start reacting. As a coach, then you're like, all right, wait a second. This is, this got a chance to be something special. And the great part as a coach is you knew that it's not going to go to his head. I mean, he still shows up the same way every day, works his tail off in the meeting room, works his tail off on the practice field, always looking for extra work and extra coaching points to try to get better at his craft. And it's been fun to see that growth over the course of this season as he's gotten more reps.
I remember you telling me this guy, he just loves the game, and you said he was one of the hardest workers that you'd ever been around, and that hard work is clearly paying off. I was looking in the games when he's played 40 or more snaps, he has scored a touchdown or has at least 4 catches in all 3 of those games. I mean, is this somebody that we're likely to see, whether, once Austin Hooper's back or not, whose role is only going to continue to expand? Because, frankly, the ball finds him. He knows how to get open, and, he's even in there wham blocking defensive tackles for you.
And he takes a lot of pride in it, too, which is awesome. And I think that's one of the things that as you just said, is the reason he's going to keep finding his way on the field, is because he's not worried about what the job is, what the role is, whether or not the ball is coming his way. He takes a lot of pride in every part of his role, whether it's whamming a D tackle, blocking the defensive end, making a great play in the passing game. So, yeah, anytime, and that's true at any position, is when you go out there and have success and do your job at a high level, it's our job as coaches to try to keep putting you in that position and helping the team win.
Drew, when unfortunately we lose Odell Beckham Jr. this week in Cincinnati, and I'm wondering, is that something you even address in your room from the standpoint of we're going to have to pick up some of this? Is that a conversation you had with your guys?
I don't think it ever needs to be said. I mean, anytime you lose a caliber or a player of that caliber, I think it's kind of implied. I think one, you feel terrible for your teammate. Obviously that's you got to push through that because you're in the middle of a game. But I think it's just kind of the awareness of, hey, we still got a job to do. We got to go out there and execute at a high level. Whatever plays are called, whether it's my number or someone else's, I still got to go out and perform. And I don't think it ever gets explicitly said, but I think certainly people are very aware of it whenever you lose a player like that.
Coach, how fun is it to be a part of an offense like this? And just from, our vantage point, getting to watch some of the evolutions or what we would call the wrinkles. We show you A, and then you think you're answering, and here comes B or C, the variations off of that. Although I'm sure your room was a little bummed to see Hollywood Higgins stealing the tight end exclusive leak route last week for a big gain. But is it fun to be a part of, what this offense and the way that it's been crafted thus far?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think that's something that, you heard us as a staff and even from the player standpoint talk about very early on is, our identity is going to be whatever works that week and makes us difficult to defend. And to be able to do that, you got to have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different roles. And, something that might be typically a tight end route or a wide out route or a running back route, we can't be worried about that. And if anything, if we are, we're not going to be nearly as dynamic as we can be. So from a coaching standpoint, I'm sure from a player standpoint, there's a lot of enjoyment and excitement in terms of installing those plays, repping those plays, and going out and executing at a high level.
So you're probably one of the few people, who can answer this question, because normally when the Chief scores, he does the Chief slam. He makes that unbelievable catch on the post, just throws the ball nonchalantly away. It just so happens to come right back to Baker, who picks it up, hands it to him, and then we get the Chief slam. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into what happened there?
I'm sure after, that was an absolute unbelievable route, great throw by Baker and a phenomenal catch. The excitement of the moment got to him, and, when you're in those moments, you just react. I don't even think there's a thought process to it. And then after throwing the ball, he was probably lucky to have it back in his hand so he could do his signature move. I'm sure it ended up working out in both ways.
Drew, this is a fun one on Sunday, and a lot at stake, obviously, in terms of just where you are. And I know you guys, it's game by game, day by day, and you don't think big picture. That's just not what Kevin Stefanski preaches. It's not about the way that this program has been built. But just from the standpoint of the bye week looming and this Raiders team with the challenges they provide, what have you seen from the guys this week in terms of understanding how big this one is? Take care of this, and then we get the bye week and everybody can relax a little bit.
Yeah, I think the big thing, and you hit on it, and it's, again, from the top down from Coach Stefanski, is it's the biggest game of the season because it's the next one, right? And I think our guys have really embraced that approach, and this week's been no different. They walk on the field on Wednesday, and they got a game in 5 days. They got an opponent they got to prepare for, and they treat it just as they would any other game, but that doesn't mean that it's any smaller, right? They're all huge. And I think you've seen that through 3 days of practice. Guys have really, busted their tails to get ready for this game, and it's been fun to be a part of.
Coach, when you're watching the tape of this Raiders defense, I'm sure that you watched recently, Chiefs, Bucks, their tight ends, 15 catches, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. What have you seen that can get your group involved against the way this Raiders team plays defense?
I think it goes kind of back to what I said earlier. First of all, we got to be deceptive, right? So I can't be talking about it on the radio.
Yes. You're a head coach in training, Drew. We know this. Head coach in training. We're helping your development here. We're giving you, putting you in some pickles to see how you handle yourself.
I appreciate that. No, it's a talented group on defense. They play really hard. They run to the ball. They do a great job with their scheme of trying to mix things up and keep you off balance. And, I think as we've said, hey, there are going to be a number of plays throughout the game where our number's called and we got to go out there and perform. And I think we're going to be ready based on a lot of the past experiences we've had. And it's going to be a tough matchup for sure.
Coach, it is great talking to you. Good luck on Sunday. And thank you so much for your time, pal.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, that is our tight end coach, Drew Petzing, calling in on the Fifth Third money line. Yeah, it's another one of those position groups where you say that just have never really been what you wanted to be all year, just injuries and things here and there, and now you wait on Hoop, and hopefully after the bye week you can have all 3 of those guys healthy, engaged, and ready to go for the second half of the season after you take care of this one on Sunday.
Absolutely. And I love Drew, and his story, I think, as time evolves, has a chance to be very similar to Kevin Stefanski. Started, worked his way up through the organization, and now here, remember, he was with Simone. He used to work with Simone in his first go-round
Wait
with
a
the
second.
Browns.
Hold on.
And now he's
Hold
the
the
tight
phone.
end coach of the Cleveland Browns.
You're telling me that Drew had to answer to Simone?
Yes.
And I'm just now becoming aware of that?
Yes. After the season, when we get him
Sad,
on, we're going to dive
frankly.
into which leadership style he prefers, Simone or Stefanski. We'll get into all of that, and we'll let him know what Simone
Well,
did to us.
My assumption would be that we don't have to ask that question. We know
the answer.
My guess is one of them pays their debts and the other one has you pay their debts.
One's a Lannister.
That's the way
one
that
isn't.
usually goes. One is not.
One is
no. I'm trying to think what the opposite of the Lannisters on a debt paying would be.
I
The
don't know. It's
Boltons?
got to be a Greyjoy.
I mean, what would it
or
be?
Maybe a Bolton.
The Greyjoy.
The Greyjoys.
No, the other one that. Who was the one that Arya made him? He consumed his own children.
The pie. Oh my goodness.
By the way,
been so long
while
since
Nathan
I've
thinks about
been
this,
engaged again.
while Nathan thinks about this, the Simone,
Walder Frey.
Walder Frey.
There we go.
That's Simone.
That's him.
the Simone tree
Isn't it?
is pretty
Perfect.
impressive, by the way.
Yeah. Well, even if it is, I'm not going to be out here giving him credit.
Boy, you are just surly. Maybe because
Are you?
Maybe because you got day 3 of trick or treat coming your way. Maybe that's the problem.
Let me tell you something. The bishop never forgets.
We were on a street corner.
We were on a street corner.
Left
We were
with a
leaving.
bill.
Our cars were coming. They were driving themselves to us. And we were
That's
summoned.
right. No. Not.
Wrong.
Excuse me, sir.
Gibbe
Oh,
was
really?
Gibbe was even chauffeuring
Gibbe was
Simone
gone.
around.
I had to convince
Gibbe
him
was
to
the
come
driver.
back.
He was driving him around.
Simone was like, "We're not going back." I'm like, "I think this is legit. I think you better
Gibbe.
go
Yeah.
That's what he said. Yeah, it is legit.
Good job out of you, Gibbe. Yeah, he wanted. So basically, it's going to be Z and I doing the whole thing.
Picking it all up.
Both
Can
for
you
the rest of it.
imagine if that had gone down?
Yeah,
we just would
I
have said
can't
we're not
imagine.
coming back.
I wouldn't have. I would have sent an invoice
It wasn't any
to his
more.
office.
To be honest, that's not any more unfathomable than what actually did happen.
Correct. You're right. That is not any more unfathomable. That's well put out of you.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
Hey, a little news, by the
reminder.
way, out of Las Vegas. Right tackle Trent Brown is practicing today for the Raiders, so it looks like he will
All right,
go.
there you go.
good.
Drew
Good.
Petzing called in on the Fifth Third Money Line. A reminder, all guests appear on CBD. Do so on the Fifth Third Money Line. Fifth Third Bank, making Cleveland Browns Daily a Fifth Third better. We hit your keys to victory. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Nominations for all 2012 Helmets programs are now being accepted. Zenith invites you to nominate your Ohio high school to receive $25,000 worth of new Zenith helmets. Visit promotions.clevelandbrowns.com to learn more. Good reply out of you. All right, it is the Browns and the Raiders. It's time for your Keys to Victory, brought to you by University Hospitals, the official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Key number 1, Great Z.
Yes, we need to go into what we like to call the winning mix. 3 keys to victory. Number 1, stay hot, Baker Mayfield. I know you're not living in Amy Trask Malibu paradise, but boy, which would be nice. But you gotta stay hot. You know how hot he was in that game. 21 straight completions. The Browns are 4-0 in games in which his quarterback rating tops 100 this year. They've won 11 straight games when his quarterback rating is 100 or better. As Baker goes, the Browns go. When he is the excellence of execution, well, they're basically unbeatable. Now, the Raiders, they've been generous. 290 yards, 1.8 touchdowns, 65% completions with an opposing quarterback rating of 99.7. They've allowed an opposing quarterback rating of 100-plus in 2 of their last 3 games, both of which were losses for the Raiders. No pass rush, so that's good for Baker. Vegas, 7 sacks on the season, 27th with a 25.8% pressure percentage. Baker, without pressure, 70% completions, 8 yards per attempt, 14 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 116.5, 8th best in the NFL. Number two, eliminate the big plays. Number two. Eliminate the big plays from that Vegas passing game. Al Davis said, go vertical, baby. That's what they are doing this year. Derek Carr leading the NFL in quarterback rating, 142, yards per completion, 39.8, and yards per attempt at 23 in terms of passes more than 20 yards in the air. As I said, Vegas, 6 plays of more than 40 yards passing in only 6 games. That's most in the NFL. We've talked about Aguilar, 19.5 per catch, 3 touchdowns of more than 20. Ruggs, 26.5 yards per catch. You've got to make them matriculate the ball down the field slowly and then get after Carr. Carr's, when under pressure, completion percentage down 23%. Quarterback rating drops 47 points when compared with a clean pocket. So it's going to be critical to eliminate that vertical component from their passing game. And finally, I know it's cliche. Number 3. Come on, give us a number 3.
I need you to stop yelling it into the microphone, Zegura.
Oh, come on, Gibby. It's a Friday. Let the kid live. Don't be a.
You remember when Michael Scott looked at Toby and he said, I hate so much about the things you choose to be? That's how I feel right now.
That is great. Gibby is Toby. That's unbelievable.
Toby's just a robber, a joy thief. Win the turnover battle. Yes, it is cliche. The Browns enter Week 8 with a league-best 14 takeaways. They've produced a turnover in 13 of their last 14 games, dating back to 2019. The Raiders, on the other hand, just 3 takeaways so far, fewest in the league. Here's some fun ones for you. The AFC Defensive Player of the Month, our own Myles Garrett. He's forced more fumbles, 4, and is directly responsible for more turnovers, 7, than the entire Raiders team, which has 1 and 3 respectively. His 9 sacks also outpaced their 7 sacks as a team. No big deal. Now, Carr, only 2 picks on the season, but they've thrown 1 in each of the last 2 games. How about this? Browns, undefeated when they win the turnover battle this year. The Raiders, 0-3 when they lose the turnover battle. 3-0 when they win the turnover battle. That is the key to this game. Taking care of the ball in inclement weather, even more important than usual on Sunday.
Yeah, just to add on to a couple of your thoughts there, it feels like whoever the clean team is wins. Turnovers, penalties, it's pretty straightforward in this one. These 2 teams very similar, both give up a lot, both score a lot, and both really good. I think the Raiders are better than their 3-3 record would lead you to believe. Feels like Myles getting to Derek will be key, but he does that every single week. The other thing I would add, and I was glad that you guys both went over on this, I just kind of feel a Kareem Hunt big game coming. This feels like one that is catered for him in the slop, lots of runs. He runs so violently. I know he's been nursing some injuries a little bit, trying to – I don't know if he's even where he is in terms of getting close to 100%, but if he can have a big one, I just kind of have a feeling he and Jarvis are both going to have big ones. Jarvis playing inspired football with, with his best friend going down and Odell Beckham Jr. Feel like that's something that you can count on, even from his touchdowns and reception standpoint. And then Kareem Hunt, I'm with you. I think he could have this could be a blowout game for him against this Raiders defense.
Yeah, and I think we need it, right? That's something that we need to see in this game. We need Kareem Hunt to get going in a major way, and he's been over 70, as I talked about, 5 times. Only he and Derrick Henry in the entire National Football League can make that claim, but this is one to go over 80, not just for the over and under to get me back to my normal level of greatness, but because I think it will be key to winning this game, and you can run on this Raiders team. And I think the Browns are really going to try and attack the edges of this Raiders defense. I think that's where they feel they can have some success, running right at Max Crosby, right at Cleveland Farrell. That is, I think, going to be part of the plan for Kevin Stefanski, and I'm, excited to see that, but I do think this is a game where Kareem Hunt, I'm going to even say it, I believe century mark certainly in play this week for Kareem Hunt.
Very good. If your game plan for the season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/GoBrowns today. Coming up next, a little segment we like to refer to as
The Scores.
Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You're down.
All right, Elk and Elk Serious Lawyer, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is time for Week 8 and the scores.
It is scores.
Are we doing Zeke?
It's like a rat race to the finish line here today.
Well, let me tell you something, brothers. Last week, Week 7, Zegura and Bishop combined 6 games over 500. We now stand at a combined 26 games over 500.
Jeez.
Bishop plus 15, Zegura plus 11.
Wait, so
Just
you
swimming in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck.
That's right.
Oh, all
my
of the
favorite
strokes.
shows.
Yes.
Wait a minute. So you were combined, but what does that make you, Zegura?
So last week,
Oh, you had a good week.
Last week I was 9-5, so 4 games over. Bishop was 8-6. See, when I say combined, because I look at us as a team, it's not to.
It's a team of joy.
It's a team of joy. I'm not trying to highlight or anything. It's just that's what we are. And then I gave the numbers, but if you weren't paying attention. And by the way, last night was truly for those really paying attention. There are going to be people out there that say, "Oh, you guys steered us wrong.
You got it wrong.
You steered us wrong."
Know.
But no. If you remember the discussion, I talked about Theodore at the back door and how we had the dog sound last time. And we'd love to say Theodore at the back door again, but we didn't have the dog sound. But by just saying Theodore at the back door, that means Falcons win. Yet the Panthers were favored. We told you what was going to happen for the real listeners like Ned Fox Plimpton who pay attention to the scores.
In this country.
Plimpton knew.
Plimpton cashed that check.
Sure he did.
I don't even know where to go there. The yarn that was just spun on this air is almost insulting.
It's not a yarn.
Truth
Pay
hurts.
attention to the scores. Ask Lizzo.
Okay.
Lizzo's, yeah, exactly. Like she says, truth hurts.
Uh-huh. All right. Shall we go?
We shall.
Waiting on you, Gibby.
Week 8 in the National Football League. We kick it off 1 o'clock. The all of a sudden hot Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions playing host to the Indianapolis Colts. The Lions 3-3, the Colts 4-2. Zegura, floor yours.
Home dogs are always frisky when you get into the late months of the season, and this Lions team, yeah, they're a little frisky, but all of their wins, really, they've beaten the Jags, they've beaten the Falcons, but you go back a little bit. Beat the Cardinals. That's a good team. Lose close to the Saints. Another good team. What to make of them? Todd Gurley kneels at the 1. Bishop is the one who was 9-5 a week ago. I'm the one who was 8-6, but he didn't. And you've got NFL film splicing together Matt Ryan's words out of sequence, which is not cool. He called him out on that. Yeah, that get down, that was from 2 plays before. He's saying get the first down and get down.
Oh, no.
He said
NFL films.
NFL films.
The Sables were not having that. They would not have that.
For shame. This is one where there could be a catapult effect, but I like the Colts. I like them coming off of their bye week. I think the Colts are very, very good. DLD, going to be a little sad on Monday. Colts 17, Lions 14.
This past week, Matt Stafford watched his former high school center finally get off the schneid and remove, much like Steve Young, a very authentic, move the monkey off of his back, just like Steve Young did, which is a very authentic emotion that Steve Young had in that moment. And it was spontaneous.
I bet he regrets it.
I agree,
planned or staged.
I bet he regrets it.
It was very spontaneous. It was just a young man frolicking in the fields, shortless. And somehow others have tried to make it something contrived, and it is not. It was not that at all. And that's exactly what Matthew Stafford watched with Clayton Kershaw this week. His former center, and now he is inspired. And he's got a run game with Swift, and they've got some people in the passing game to make people pay.
Galladay.
And I saw those Colts corners. I don't like them. Lions, 47. Colts, 3.
Wow. Whoa. By the way, we'll take it. Browns fans should be rooting for the Lions for a victory Monday on DLD, Detroit Rock City.
Up next, gentlemen, another cross-division game. The Rams coming east to take on the 3-3 Dolphins and the debut of Tua as the starting quarterback. Here you go, Tua. Meet Aaron Donald. Have at it. Have fun. We'll see you on the other side, Ray. Bishop, the floor is yours.
Look, it's a 1 o'clock game across the country for the Rams. That's not ideal. I like a home dog as much as anybody. What I don't like is that kid getting his first start against that defense with what they have in the secondary and what they have up front. Ram it! 27. Tua. 2 picks. 11.
This is craziness. And sometimes, when you try to, it's madness.
Already?
No, it's total madness.
Already?
What they've done, Fitzmagic, 3 in a row, playing some of the best quarterback in the NFL. And you're going to sit him down. They're in the hunt. They're in the mix. And you're just going to sit him down and have to deal with Aaron Donald like everybody here is pointing out. This one doesn't make sense. The fact, honestly, that I don't think this line in any way, shape, or form reflects that there was a quarterback change. Ryan Fitzpatrick the last 3 weeks was playing top 10 quarterback football in the NFL.
Yep.
Tua is not going to do that in his first game out. He's going to see things he hasn't seen. He's going to meet Aaron Donald, who might eat him for a bag lunch. Ram it. Totally with you all the way. I think big. I'm talking 70, -14.
Wow.
Now we're dishing out minus points, negative points.
That's right. That's right.
I guess if you make
That's right.
such a bad decision as to bench Fitzmagic, you deserve negative points.
And I'm into the Tua era. I'm kind of excited for it. Devontae
I'm
Parker
fine
is
too.
banged
Not
up.
really.
I
Watch
like
it,
Tua,
but not now.
Not now.
No.
Not now.
Not
Premature.
at 3-3.
Premature.
Yep, agreed. All right, big tilt in the AFC East. You want to be the king, you have to knock off the king. The Patriots are 2-4, and they go to Buffalo to battle the 5-2 Bills, who I'm still not buying in Week 8 of the 2020 NFL season. Zegura.
Bill Belichick doesn't want to engage in sports talk radio. He said it this morning. He appreciates the offer, not interested. But unfortunately, his team doesn't seem to be interested in winning. Cam Newton, Julian Edelman's out now.
Sad.
They have no weapons. Cam looks lost. The Bills have not been good, and yet they've been competitive with 2 very good teams. I think they get back on track this week, and I think they do it in a big way. I did not have this complete meltdown. It seemed like the COVID break wiped out Cam and wiped out all effectiveness in that offense, and it seems to be over now. Bills, 34. Patriots, 6.
Bills, 7. New England, 2.
Well, all right then. We move on. This is one of the bigger scores I think we've ever seen.
It is.
You don't see them like this very often.
No, you don't. The Jets, they don't have a win. They're god-awful, and they are the worst team in the National Football League. And their reward for that is a trip to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Well, Bishop, this one's all you.
Look, I like G-Dub. I liked him when he was here. I liked the way they played last week. Played tough
All field goals.
with Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
6
all
of them.
field goals. Held them in. Played tough defensively. This is a bloodletting. I mean, this is Custer. This is Custer against Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, and this is beat down Central. This is. I'm trying to think what the number would be that would make me not. Would it be? Is it like 27.5? Like what would it be? It's not that, and I feel fine with it. Chiefs 1.6 trillion. Jets 2.
I really think this is going to come down to Le'Veon Bell in the 4th quarter putting a revenge score on them.
Ooh.
This is such a big number, and it's so easy to race
score.
out and let up. And Darnold can throw the ball around. He actually looked pretty good at times, at the beginning anyway, against the Bills last week. But I think Le'Veon Bell is going to say, Andy, 4th quarter, let me just have the ball. It's personal. And when it's personal, Le'Veon looking good, my friend. And I think he's going to score a touchdown to do it at the end. I think they're going to be up 17. It's going to be
Oh, wow.
It's going to be 34-17 with about 3 minutes left, and Le'Veon Bell is going to carry it on 8 consecutive carries, culminating in a touchdown.
Oh,
and
God.
the Chiefs get it done, 41-17.
Up next, here you go. The AFC North and the early division bragging
Man, I wish
rights.
this was 425 or 405.
Yeah, I would agree.
Is this happening at 1?
1 o'clock.
It's outrageous. This should be Sunday Night Football.
This is the 6-0 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore to take on the 5-1 Baltimore Ravens. Zegura. Too bad this is a Fox doubleheader week because this should have been the 425.
Yeah, it's weird they didn't accommodate this.
No.
This line befuddles me. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I'm befuddled by it. The Ravens are struggling to run the football. The Steelers are the best at stopping the run. You try to make the Ravens a drop-back passing team against that defense? No thank you. Not going to happen. I think the wrong team's favored. I think it's the Steelers. In a statement win that we are the team to beat in the AFC and, frankly, the National Football League. They get it done convincingly, 24-13.
Wow. I think the Ravens take advantage of the bye week. I think they get it going. I would not be surprised if J.K. Dobbins finds himself reintroduced to the offense for the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's a statement game the other way. The Ravens win 21-20. Same.
Same, but different.
Up next, a lot of 1 o'clock games. The Titans, fresh off that first loss of the year to the Steelers, they traveled to Cincinnati to battle the Bengals. Tough loss last week for both teams. Bengals, Titans, Bishop, we start with you.
One of the privileges of membership here on this show is that we are able to see some game film. And with that comes some knowledge with how certain teams play defense or lack thereof. I think Tennessee could score 170 on the Bengals if they wanted to. I have no idea how the Bengals are going to cover them. I don't know what they're going to do with Derrick Henry. I think ain't no Tannehill high enough, as high as it wants to be. He can be like Rocky in Rocky IV, scaling it with a leather jacket and jeans. Fine, he's safe. You're safe, pal. Nothing to see here. Titans big, 77-2.
It's one of those where I had to hire security. I sent Ivan Drago right back there to guard the back door. Joe wanted to come in. Drago said, boom, 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 boom. No,
would break you.
Not happening. I'm sorry, their D's not good, and that does not cast any aspersions on what we did last week. But the Titans,
I didn't say that.
They're pretty darn good. I agree with you. I don't even think they can cover this one. It's going to be big. Titans, and they want to get a little momentum back. I think 40-24 Titans.
Up next, we round out the 1 o'clock games. An interesting one as we go to Lambeau Field. The 1-5 Vikings, the 5-1 Green Bay Packers. Lots of people looking at me. We good?
We're good.
All right.
Yeah. It's just we had a different order.
Waiting for you to stop talking.
Well, I had to, yeah. Behind the scenes.
It's all
Go
good.
crazy.
We're good. We're good. We're ready.
5-1 versus 1-5. Z?
Boy, you look at the Minnesota secondary. Nobody's playing. Nobody's home there. Devontae Adams could have about 800 yards in this one. Rodgers and company light him up. Vikings going to put up some points. Don't get me wrong, but it won't be enough. This is going to be a comfortable 35-24 victory. Packers.
Safe.
Quick, to the point, we move on to the late day games. First off and foremost, the 4:05 matchup. Chargers, Broncos. Both teams 2-4. Denver, I think a close second to us in terms of the number of injuries. The Chargers, they have a quarterback. I don't know what else they have. 2-4 versus 2-4.
Defense.
Bishop, what do you got?
Frisky Chargers.
Oh, boy, aren't they frisky.
Boy, they're frisky. That kid is good, man. He can spin it. He's not afraid. A lot of calm. Highest rated quarterback on third down in the NFL, this kid.
Wow.
Who had that?
Not me.
They got
You know who
weapons
did?
everywhere.
You know who did? Mosley.
Yeah. Mosley loved him.
Modes loved Herbert. Remember, he has that Oregon connection. Loved
that's right.
Herbert. Loved.
did.
Oh, yeah. Listen,
Well,
guy's got
I
access
guess
to
we should've
intelligence that
listened.
we don't have.
That's right. Yeah, he did, and showed it off in this instance. Yeah, this is the Denver has just been ravaged. No Lindsey this week. I mean, it seems like Locke loses confidence every single time he plays. Chargers 31, Broncos 20.
The Broncos were able to beat the Patriots, and at the time, that was an eye-opening win. And we said, wow, maybe the Broncos defense, maybe they're not bad.
Maybe there's more to them.
Maybe there's more to this Broncos team. Turns out there was just a lot less to the Patriots. Broncos, as you mentioned, 2-4. Now, we may be underrating the revenge game factor. There is a revenge game factor here for Melvin Gordon. But is it not hard to believe this was a Broncos team that lost 16-14 week 1 to the Titans, 26-21 week 2 to the Steelers in Pittsburgh? They beat the Jets, they beat the Patriots, they were trounced by the Bucs, trounced by the Chiefs. This is a team that has fallen off of a mile-high cliff. And when I say it's the lock of the week, I mean it. Chargers 27, Broncos 13.
I cannot hear Gibby.
Gibby, you've muted
Can you hear
yourself
me?
because you don't have an on-off button.
Can you hear me?
Yes!
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 Yes! Yes!
No, I just
We don't
potted
even need to
myself
do any
down.
more scores. That's 4 wins. That's 4-0.
No.
Gibby undone by the no
Oh, if
light.
only Gibby had a light.
What a
No,
moment.
I
If
don't
only
need
he
a
had a
light.
light.
What a
If
moment.
only he had a light.
I don't need a light. I don't need a light.
Light.
What a time to be
Give
alive.
it,
What a
give
time
it,
to
Did
be
I?
alive.
I'm looking at Bishop, and I'm like, did I forget you on that? You were like looking at me, and I'm like, did I forget you? No, I just didn't have your mic up. You big dummy. That's how the week's gone.
Better or worse? I mean, think of the victories this week. Better or worse
What a,
was
what a week.
crowned.
What a time to be alive.
Better or worse by Gibby on Tuesday.
Gonna
On
delete this
Friday,
entire week of
he has
shows in the
made
archive.
the case. He says, we need lights. Let there be light.
Gonna delete them all.
Gibby.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, please, go ahead, Gibby.
Yeah,
As you were
great.
saying.
Yes.
Awesome. Can I interest you in the 425? By the way, the first, as I was trying to say, the first game in daylight savings. It'll be dark by the time this one really gets going. Saints, Bears. How about this for the weather forecast in Chicago on Sunday? And this is during the day before the sun goes down. 38 degrees, winds 25 to 35, gusts over 40. Saints 4-2, the Bears are 5-2. I don't know if anybody's buying the Chicago Bears. Zegura, do you want to go first here?
It is my turn, as a matter of fact, to go first. So I will.
There you go.
Thank you, Gibby. I hate Drew Brees outdoor in cold weather. Hate. Don't trust him, especially with the scores. But this Bears offense is putrid. And guess who didn't practice again today? Sad, Allen Robinson. Without Allen Robinson, they've got nothing. Bubkiss. Saints, 5. Bears, 0.
Say.
All right, we move on.
Lot of Kamara.
Because we're
Lot of
running
Kamara
out
in
of
that
time.
one.
Maybe a little Latavius Murray as the hammer.
Yeah. Run.
Can I interest you in this? Here come the San Francisco 49ers, maybe. 4-3, taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks' first loss of the year last Sunday night at the hands of the Arizona Cardinals. Seahawks are the home team in this one. Bishop, we'll start with you.
Man, Seahawks got to feel bad about what happened. Up 2 scores with 2 minutes to go and blow it. Blow it. Love Kyle. As I like to say from his time here, he's a gangster. He and I had a real bond during his time here. Guy's a gangster. He's coaching him up. They just don't have anybody to throw to. He's got one guy. He's got one receiver. No, he even knows who he's going to hand the ball to. Russ, 38. Kyle and his gangsterness, 30.
Earlier today, I received a text message from my father, and it says this: Nerd, I played Mission Hills Golf Course yesterday and parred 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9. That's 6 pars and 9 holes. Can it get any better? No, it's not going to get any better for the Bay Area after that. 6 pars and 9 holes for Pedro. Stop the presses. That's it. The Bay Area has peaked for this week. That means bad news for the 49ers and their lack of weapons. If Pedro's lighting up on the golf course, everything's crazy. Seattle, big. 42, Niners, 24.
Did it secretly kill him that you could crush him at golf? It had to.
No, because he just never – he was like Big Lebowski. Obviously, you're not a golfer. I mean, he just was not – that wasn't his thing. Zago was such a good golfer. I think he just went in other directions. And he'd tell you, I'll drop a 3 in your eye, just like from the – and he shoots across his head like this and reels it off. It's unbelievable. He can shoot it in an open gymnasium. The guy can stroke the basketball. Can't make a layup, though. That's the secret. Just say, go ahead. Go try and shoot a layup. Couldn't do layup lines. Wouldn't participate. Nerd, not doing layups.
All right, real quick, guys. Final one of Week 8 on Sunday. Obviously, we'll get to the Monday on Monday. Dallas 2-5, and yet a half game out of first in the NFC East. They travel to Philadelphia 2-4-1. I've lost track of who's first, so someone spit out a score because we need to go to break.
Philly a billion.
I mean, doesn't Danucci feel
No idea
like
what that
he
was.
should be thriving in a game in Philadelphia?
He should be.
Isn't it set up for Danucci?
Who is it, Danucci?
I don't know, but I'm with you. Philly by a billion. Danucci sounds like he's slinging cheesesteaks at Geno's,
Break.
not quarterback in the Cowboys.
Same. We're right back. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Right, final segment on a Football Friday. Get your Buckeye score first. Bucks and Nittany's 42-24. Kind of interesting in the first half, and then the excellence prevails.
Cream rises, yeah.
That's exactly right. Odell with an IG post you wanted to share.
He did. Said, I just want to thank you all for checking in on me. This is tough, really tough. I really don't have many words right now, definitely not the right ones at least. I couldn't tell you why this happened. This one doesn't make much sense. It's not for me to question, but I believe God truly has a plan and is using me for it. Ton of emotions flowing, just taking some me time, some time to heal. Thank you all for the love. Be back soon.
30.
We're doing it for Odell, damn it.
That's right. Do it for OBJ. Browns, ugly, 23-16 over the Raiders.
Same. Let's go Brownies. Let's get it done. We're back on Monday to break it all down. Of course, the next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.